Brief meeting. We'll start. Good evening, everyone. This is the April 30th, 2026 meeting of the Brookline Planning Board. We have two items on the agenda. First is a hearing relative to two articles potentially coming before a town meeting. And then the second is a Board of Appeals case. I understand there's no public here, so I'm going to skip public comment, but any members of the planning board have comments on anything not on the agenda? No, we'll get right into it. I did talk to Polly earlier today. I understand Article 16 is not intended to be moved, and I think we still need to make a vote for no action in order for the process to be complete. Is that your understanding as well, folks?
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I don't know about that as far as the town meeting aspects
Yeah.
are concerned, but I did want to talk about it a little bit. If you want to do that now before we take this vote.
There's no discussion
Yeah,
allowed on 16.
the article is not being moved, could come back in fall town meeting as a different article, so there's no point in talking about this version because it's not actually the article.
Well, what I did want to talk about was a process that we might consider between now and fall town meeting to come up with a better version of it. We can't talk about that, Maria?
That's really not in the agenda, Steve. And I think that if we don't really know if the applicant is going to move forward, and that's speculation. So that's something that can be discussed maybe with Polly offline. I certainly don't want to diminish any interest in that. I know it's important to you, but I think there might be just another path for that discussion. Okay.
Okay, I won't waste any more time tonight, but it is something that I want to get to over the summer in one way or another.
Fair enough. Okay, I do not have language to read, but I will make a guess. The Brookline Planning Board recommends no action on Article 16. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We'll go around the horn. Linda?
Aye.
Tommy?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Thank you all. Second is Article 1, which we've already voted on. However, there were, as you saw the email yesterday with the attachments, I believe it's 2 friendly amendments by Dick Benka. I just watched the AC meeting recording, so I have a sense what those are. But Meredith, I believe you're just going to quickly cover what they are, and then we will revote on the Article 1 for special town meeting 1, so that our vote is on the same document that the other folks who voted, Select Board and AC Land Use Committee Subcommittee have voted on as well. So Meredith, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone. Meredith Mooney, Economic Development Director. Wanted to give you an update on where things stand with special town meeting 1, Article 1 for the Chestnut Hill commercial overlay zoning. Earlier this week, the select board did vote favorable action on the amended version of the warrant article. So you've been seeing updates to the friendly amendments over the past several meetings. And I think so without paying too much attention to the numerical order of the version, so the version 9 was the friendly amendments that the select board incorporated into the zoning warrant article. But I think the key difference between where things currently stand with the zoning language and the last time you saw an endorsed scope of friendly amendments really had to do with some fine tuning and additions that were made to the section of the zoning that deals with meeting the minimum commercial requirements in phased redevelopment contexts. So if you're interested, I'm happy to pull up the track changes version of the zoning, just so you can, oh, actually, Cameron, may I be made a co-host so I could share my screen? And then my internet connection was a little bit spotty in your earlier remarks, Matt, but I think there's not the need for the planning board to re-vote on the warrant article, but it would be helpful to amend your planning board report to acknowledge that you know that there have been additional amendments and they don't impact your original vote that you've taken on it. So I don't think you need to re-vote it. It's more just amending your report.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood the conversation.
I had like a 30-minute conversation with town council about the nuances of this discussion, and that's sort of where I was directed in that. So I totally understand.
Fine, as long as our vote stands regardless of what happened to the article and the report fills in the blanks, that works as well. Yep.
Okay. All right, and then very quickly, just sharing my screen. So this is version 9 of the zoning. This is the section regarding fulfilling minimum commercial requirement, phase redevelopment scenarios. So it looks, there's just been a lot of sort of clarification of the language and the requirements in this section. And the set of concerns that these changes address is the situation where a developer comes in, they submit an application through the overlay, they build their residential building, and they provide all of the requirements that we originally had in the zoning about financing, and they break ground on the next phase of the project through which they'll meet the minimum commercial requirement, and then they ultimately don't follow through with that, or it's sort of protracted in terms of when the latter phases are completed, and there's a lag time on when they meet the minimum commercial requirement, which allowed them to utilize the overlay zoning and the added additional density in the first place. So the amendments here do a couple of things. They clarify, the town's expectation as to when a project will meet its minimum commercial requirement, which is helpful because it sort of sets the expectation, and then it establishes sort of a clear point at which the town can consider what would be an appropriate enforcement action at that time without being overly prescriptive about what that would be. And then it also provides some flexibility where we have this in a couple other parts of the zoning where we talk about, there's this requirement that your project has to be completed within 3 years of the issuance of the certificate of occupancy for the first building built as part of your project. However, the select board has the ability to waive that requirement prior to a project going forward and, submitting their special permit application. And so this, can provide some flexibility to the developer, but then it also creates sort of a placeholder and opportunity for the select board to initiate a conversation about maybe a memorandum of agreement and, tax certainty. So, and then there's some sort of corresponding amendments here. This was a section of the zoning where we created some flexibility specific to concerns that growth companies had raised in terms of, realistic phasing of their projects. And so we just made some corresponding edits to the same language as well. So I think that is, in terms of the substantive changes, the biggest one since you last reviewed the proposed amendments.
Seems relatively clear. Any members of the planning board have questions about those? So I'm just looking at what is this actually called? Document. I think it's the report. Dated April 29th. No, there was another document attached to tonight's agenda, but this is the memo to the planning board regarding the select board amendments. So have you yet updated the planning board report to reflect?
So I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to be adding to the report. It's going to be that there is a vote on the proposed amendments to STM1 Article 1, and that is going to be on that date of April 30th, as presented to you on April 30th.
Okay.
Okay, and it's an endorsement. So the planning board would vote to endorse amendments Director Meredith Mooney proposed on behalf of the petitioner at the April 30th planning board hearing.
So I will take that as the motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Steve. Go around the horn. Steve?
Aye.
Tommy?
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
and chair votes aye.
Thank
We only
you.
got
And
four of
then,
us tonight, so.
and
Oh,
then
yeah.
just one more thing to add as a follow-up. So I think one of the recent conversations about this, Steve had raised the issue of burying the utilities in the area. And so that is something that we did follow up with City Realty about, and that has been added to the MOA as an amendment as to something that they, have committed to fully exploring. So it's now included in the draft MOA, which hasn't been approved by the select board yet, but I did want to close the loop on that.
Committed to exploring. Well, it's not exactly a commitment to doing it, but it's better than nothing. So, okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and so those were the two items, first part of the agenda, and I believe we can now move to a deck project at 55 Boylston Street.
Yeah, so I'll introduce the case. So this is 555 Boylston Street, which is an attached single-family home located in the Fisher Hill Estates, which is a cluster development right off of Boylston Street. It is connected through a very long and windy driveway to Buckminster Road on the other side. And any changes that are made to the original application, which is what this technically is, has to be reviewed by the ZBA, which is why this deck project is coming to you. They're proposing to remove two existing decks and build a new connected deck that goes from the front of the property off to the side and wraps around. I will pass it on to Bob Allen to explain further.
Thanks, Kim. For the record, Robert Allen, 300 Washington Street in Brookline Village. I have Dan Kim on, who is the owner of the property, and I have Nicole Pere on in case you need the plans pulled up. This is one of those projects that begs for administrative approval at a lower level, right? This is only here because in 1984, when this got built, there was some controversy around it. So they said any changes need to go back before the ZBA. Now, whether they meant any changes to the deck is a little unclear, but the building commissioner, being the conservative person that he is, felt that I should come here to say that we want to make a small deck into a larger deck, and we're not going into any setbacks, nothing. This is a modification. You can't see it from anywhere on the street. You'd have to be in the backyard or in the driveway. The current deck is rotting. The support beam is on a retaining wall that needs some work. So if the retaining wall is going to need some work, we might as well move that support beam and fix some other rot that's up there and make it usable rather than just a small little rectangle. So that's all I got for you. Hopefully there's no issue. Nicole's here to pull it up if the plans aren't clear.
The one thing I want to ask about is I tried a Google Street View search, but 555 Boylston gives me about 16 different buildings.
Yeah.
Is this a single family home? Is this a multi-family home?
It's a cluster. It's part of a cluster. I think there's 34 units in the cluster. It's one of the first 5.11 cluster developments. It's all part of like the Fisher Hill Estates, but these are the condos part of it. It's kind of right when you come down, I don't know if that's Warren or something, but right across from the reservoir, right at the corner there. Right when you take a right on Route 9, if you're coming from behind the high school, it's right on the right-hand side, set back up there. That's why you can't see it from the street.
So to your point about potential administrative approval, is this the condition that's on all of the units? Like, would this potentially catch fire and another adjacent unit would want to go through the same process?
If they were honest enough, like Mr. Kim, and do it without just, putting your deck up, yes, it would have to come before you for any of this.
But the shape, the geometry, the approach would be the same?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Cameron, just for the sake of anybody, I don't know if anybody on here is a member of the public, just quickly share the structural plan set. Just so we can put eyes on it. There's an existing
I'll share it
condition
to
on
Nicole.
S4.
She's got it.
Or Nicole, thanks. So S4 looks like the existing condition. So two decks being connected, and then S2 looks like the proposed condition.
Correct. That's correct. Kind of
Big deck, but hey, all right.
Yeah. And this is for Dan's parents, actually. They're seniors, so they don't get a lot of outdoor space. So this gives them a chance to kind of make it more usable, and particularly in the summer, spring, fall.
I'll assume because it was a structural engineer who drew it, that they're not actually planning to chop off the projection into the deck there. This is just how the structure is tying the
Yeah,
ledger board below that.
yes. I think this is an engineer drawing more than an architectural rendering.
I don't have any
Well,
questions.
that's a good pickup, Matt. Can't sneak anything
Anybody-
by you.
Any other members of the board have questions or concerns about this?
The only, I don't have a concern about the project, but just as far as the planning board report is concerned, it looked to me like it said that this was an interior unit, but it looks to me like it's an end unit. So just to clarify that,
Oh, yeah.
looking at the site plan.
Yeah, you're right.
Um,
I didn't pick that up.
yeah, on the other hand, when I look at the site plan and how that the demising wall between this unit and the next unit in the building, it looks like it's a straight line, but on the engineer's drawing, it's not. So a little bit confused. If you go back to the other drawing, I don't
Yeah,
understand.
I think he just focused on the deck.
Yeah, but you see what I mean? Like,
I see what you mean.
yeah, and what's going on? There's a door,
Yeah.
you know. Anyway, but that just, it doesn't look to me like it's an interior unit. So I would just correct that in the report, and I don't have any other issues with this. And I agree that something like this could be administrative.
Tommy or Linda?
No, nothing from me.
All right.
Okay with it.
Call it a quick night.
Planning board recommends approval of the site plan prepared by David E. Teachout, or a professional land surveyor, dated September 27, 2025. An architectural plan prepared by Richard J. Testa, registered architect, dated September 16, 2025. With the following conditions. There are two. Prior to the issuance of building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit final floor plans and elevations stamped and signed by a registered architect, and the final site plan stamped and signed by a registered engineer or land surveyor to the director for regulatory planning or designee for review and approval. And condition two, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit to the building commissioner for review and approval A, the floor plan, site plans, and elevation displaying the stamp of approval of the director for regulatory planning, and B, evidence that the Board of Appeals decision has been obtained by the town clerk's office by the applicant or their representative and recorded at the registry of deeds. I have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Tommy. Tommy, how do you
Aye.
vote? Steve,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
and chair votes aye.
Thank you all very much. Have a good
18
night.
minutes.
Yeah, right?
We're
That's a
good
good
ending
one.
this meeting before we usually even start them.
That's right.
There you go. I like that 7 o'clock start.
All right. Enjoy your deck, Mr.
Oh.
Kim. It's gonna be a nice project.
Thank you very much.
All right.
There's
we don't
one more
have
thing
a-
for the planning board to do.
Yeah. Do we have a meeting? We have a meeting next
Oh.
Wednesday, right?
Yes, but hold on. You guys have to, Blair Hines is stepping down from the CPA committee.
Oh,
You guys need
Oh,
to
yes, right. Do we have
vote
to
to
vote?
elect Andrea to replace him.
That's right. I forgot that wasn't. Yep. Sorry. Was that on the agenda? And I didn't even see
It
that.
It's at the very
It looks like
bottom.
it's,
I
it's
got it,
bold
yeah.
down.
Yeah, it's hidden.
I didn't even notice it myself, but right.
Okay.
So has Andrea agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
Andrea has agreed.
Okay.
Or if she's not here.
You know, I'm already on the CPA committee because I'm the Housing Advisory Board representative to the CPA committee because I'm the planning board's representative to the Housing Advisory Board. So we kind of
Wow.
get 2 votes.
The circular.
Don't appoint me.
layers.
You get 2 crowns.
All right. So, motion to approve Andrea Brew as the planning board's representative on the board, the Community Preservation Act Committee. Sorry, the CPA. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Steve. I'll go around the horn here. Steve,
Yes, aye.
Tommy,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
chair votes aye. So Andrea is officially on another committee.
I will look forward to seeing her there.
All right.
Excellent.
Now you guys are all set.
So we'll see you next Wednesday morning.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
everybody.
Take care.
Thank you.
Happy May.